Welcome to No Prize Podcast. It's the end of the summer. School's starting in a couple of weeks. Let's kind of get crazy about that, right? So let's introduce. Yeah, well, those of us that have kids going back to school, I'm excited about it.
Just trying to figure out why they go to school and I got to do the homework. That don't make no damn sense now.
Oh, I don't do homework. Kids are SOL with me.
My kids are way past school leavers age. It's what you get from being an old timer like me. No school kids.
That's true. All right, I'm the professor. That's Johnny. That's Lucas. What's going on, guys?
Football.
Oh,
the only thing that matters.
Yep, we're 2 weeks away from football season. I think we're all kind of excited about that. I'm less excited, I think, than I have been in years because my team stinks this year.
Let's not go that far. I don't think they'll be too bad. I mean, you are in the same division as the Jets, right? So you're guaranteed at least 2 wins a game, two wins a season.
So here's how it is in New England, right? We're so spoiled. Nothing but a Super Bowl appearance satisfies us. So if they only get to the first round of the playoffs and get knocked out, the season was a disaster. So that's kind of the mentality here. We don't have the mentality of like, they had a winning season. They went 10-7. They went 11-7. There's some silver lining stuff to be happy about. No, it's the fans around here are just like, nope, Super Bowl or bust, and that's kind of stinks, but whatever.
Well, I wouldn't know what a Super Bowl looks like, to be fair. So,
well, that's true. That's true.
Let's not like go too far into this there.
Well, we could do our own football podcast.
We should do it. We should do our own football podcast. Definitely. Yeah,
for
definitely.
Sure. For sure. All right, so let's jump into Disney Plus. We did have some Marvel stuff going on in Disney Plus the last couple of weeks. She-Hulk Attorney at Law dropped. We have 2 episodes live now. What do you think about Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk?
If I may be, so I don't mind her at all. Actually, I think first episode I thought the CGI was wonky a little bit, especially around how forearms and legs moved. They seemed to bend in the wrong places, but thankfully that got cleared up by second episode. I find it an easier watch, ironically, because part of it's like an identity thing. I find it an easier watch when She-Hulk's on the screen, not Jennifer.
Yeah,
Jennifer does my head and she's whiny. But She-Hulk, I'm all right with She-Hulk.
Lucas? What do you think about Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk?
So Tatiana Maslany, if that is her real name. She's one of my favorite. Yeah, she is one of my favorite actresses from her time on Orphan Black.
Orphan Black was great.
Yeah,
Wait. Back up. This is the same girl that was on Orphan Black.
Yes.
The main character.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife used to love that show, and I was like, oh look, they're in such a funk story wise that they have to bring in another clone. It was like every other episode. It's like, what should we do? I don't know. We haven't brought a new clone out. Let's do another one. It was like,
well, she was great though. She was great in the show.
I'll tell you this: the Orphan Black's #1 when it came out, comic book wise, was at one point the #1 selling book through Diamond, and the only reason it was featured in a lot of those loot boxes.
Okay.
And I absolutely destroyed the #1 comics for that month was Orphan Black
Orphan Black.
#1.
Really? I did not know that. I'm gonna have to go back and grab that because I guarantee you a lot of people have forgotten that.
So was the
Yeah.
#1 comic on Diamond and nobody actually bought it?
Yeah,
They
Pretty
bought
much
it
because
happens.
it was
It
in loot
happens.
boxes. Yeah, everyone loves those loot boxes, don't they?
I guess.
Guaranteed profits and stuff like that in the loot boxes. I didn't realize it was her.
Well, it happens, and you know what? What makes me laugh when people talk about, well, our comic is doing so well. Look how it was #1 in Diamond. It's like, well, that's the retailers who don't know any better. They're just
Yeah.
desperate, right?
Yeah.
It could sit in a freaking retailer's freaking store for like months or a freaking year, and I as a customer will walk in and say, well, that's garbage, and just freaking keep walk and keep it going. In the meantime, people also forget that okay, just because a retailer bought it doesn't mean a retailer would not later return that purchase right back to Diamond and say, hey, this was crap. Off you go. Right.
A Mrs. Bindman special issue.
Yeah.
Issue
Oof.
900. Oof.
Well, we got what issue 1000 coming out soon, so we'll talk about that later. But
Oh boy.
um, yeah, so yeah, she was one of my favorite actresses from Orphan Black, and then I was like, oh, this is. I didn't really see her as it, but I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. #1, absolutely fantastic, right? As a character that was um, you know, coming into her own as the She-Hulk, going against Banner, and that was great. Boom. But then when they took her out of that world of Bruce training her as a She-Hulk and in her own thing, and then they put her in the corporate world and the lawyer world. She absolutely fucking stunk. I'm sorry, stunk.
It's Ali McHulk.
Yeah, no, she wasn't. No, not even. Don't even mention her in the same sentence. Ally McBeal. I loved Ally McBeal. All right, I love remember Murphy. Remember the show Murphy from back in the day and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah.
were great freaking shows because they had a quirkiness to her.
This is more like
Quirkiness
Night
to a
Court.
character, right? This character, none of that quirkiness. She's like, I'm the greatest thing ever. I'm better than you, Bruce. I'm doing this. Oh no, I'm the John Trotton. It's like, okay, I don't need to hear you say it. It just has to happen to you, and your reaction after that is what makes me fall in love with you. There's nothing that she did that made me go, oh, that's pretty cool. That's nice, right? Um, so they're lost, right? And that's not on her, right? That's how they wrote it, but they need to fix it because if you're going for the quirky lawyer, you need to let the quirky lawyer come out,
Well,
right? And then
that's
again, I guess the quirkiness is supposed to be that she turns into a She-Hulk, I
no.
guess, but no,
I think the quirkiness is the fourth wall breaking. That's the
it's not
quirkiness.
cute. It's not cute at all.
Moonlighting did it back in the day much better. She
Yes.
talks like Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City, but without the fun stuff. Episode 2, I could have done without the meta stuff. Oh, it's like he's a totally different person. No kidding. Oh yes, haha, very funny. Jollies, haha. What there are some dialogue issues in the second episode. Predominantly, I didn't like how Jen goes to the family meeting, the family dinner, and they start asking her questions about Hawkeye. It's like her superpower is she gets Hulk. She hasn't got Geek, she's got Hulk. That's what she's got, right? So she's not going to care. She doesn't even know who Hawkeye is. And then 10 minutes later, the dad says something like, we've been through the Hulk stuff before. So all those Hawkeye questions, surely you would have asked the actual Avenger in the family, not just someone who happens to go green at the same, that kind of disconnect threw me a little bit. Obviously, they're using it as a means to show how separate from the standard superhero world that Jen actually is. Couple other things when she goes and meets Emil, she takes a step forward, all the alarms go off and the things don't go near the red light. a scene later, she steps forward and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, come on, come on. I don't know, stuff like that. I liked how they've set the stall for like the longer continuity, so they clearly show where the Abomination story fits in with his recent appearance in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Can I say recent appearance or the appearance in Shang-Chi?
Right.
So you kind of get an idea. And of course, the big question is where's Bruce on his way to?
I kind of thought that was the way to kind of just get rid of him for the rest of the show.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It absolutely is. But is it going to lead somewhere? Is it going to be part of the Secret Wars? Is it going to be part of, the whole Skrull invasion?
World War Hawk.
Yeah,
Everybody thinks it's going to be World War Hawk.
Is he off to
World
get
War Hawk?
Maybe he
back
comes back as Savage Hulk. That would be better, I think. But I'm going to agree with you a little bit on both ends. I do kind of think it's a little clunky a bit, and the CGI was a little wonky too in the first episode. I agree. Overall, I think it's like a bit of a faithful representation of Dan Slott's run on She-Hulk, where it was he did kind of turn it into a courtroom drama / comedy. And the fourth wall breaking, of course, for She-Hulk has been around since John Byrne was doing the book.
If they give us a John Byrne book, John Byrne show, I'd be all over it.
Yeah,
I think that whole sexy She-Hulk thing worked so well at the time.
I think it did too.
And this, I don't know.
They were trying to mash it up a little bit, and I did like the setup, right? So I do kind of like the courtroom drama thing. It's a great excuse to have some pretty good cameos because I know we're gonna get Daredevil coming down the pike, and I'm sure that there's probably a couple more surprise cameos that we'll see. Rumor has it that Spider-Man might show up, but I don't know about that. But the show it kind of tickles my funny bone a little bit. I'm not sure if it's gonna I'm kind of glad it's only 6 episodes. I do think that she's a little
9.
Is it
9 episodes?
Is it? I thought it was just 6. If it's 9, then
the reason I know this is, or the reason I think I know this, I'll say that, is that my wife couldn't place Tim Roth when he turned up, and so she googled who the cast is. She does.
Yeah.
My wife, she loves watching TV, but she's an IMDb. Yeah. We ever seen him before enough? She goes on IMDb, right? And it comes up that he's in the show for 8 episodes. He wasn't in episode 1, so.
Okay, well then maybe IMD is right. But I've seen them wrong before, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see, won't we? But I hope it gets better because there's not a lot of premise for 9 episodes, even at half an hour a clip.
The one jarring thing for me is I think in different scenes she's different shades of green. Have you guys noticed that? Seems. I know that I think maybe they're kind of playing with the lighting a little bit, and maybe they're trying to darken it, darken the scene or lighten the scene. But the shades of green that they use are not like. Sometimes she's more green than she is in different scenes, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. I think if she should be just one shade, but.
Oh man, not all of us have 4K televisions, man. To see you guys are out here talking about, man, the things are wonky. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm watching on my poor man speak hungry man television. Eating my hungry man.
I think
it's good soup.
I think the professor's looking for a 50 Shades of Green type of movie.
Hey, maybe
as Blind Adam would say, it's if you like it, it will eventually pop up. Just wait. It's just not going to be on Disney Plus. All right.
I don't know. We have Deadpool and Logan on Disney Plus now. So. All right. So, what about Titania? Did you guys like her in the first episode? That's kind of a really kind of left hand turn from the comic character.
It was just so what for me. It was like
okay. Yeah, I'm a Lucas on this one.
because even in the comics they try to make her a thing for like a couple of things, issues, and it was like, okay, bye bye, because like, all right, I would be more interested to see if they're going to actually try and bring in the Jack of Hearts. Okay, that's a thing right now. Um,
I don't. I think chances are slim to zero that we see Jack of Hearts.
yeah,
But
I
I
mean,
would like to
yeah,
see
stranger things have happened.
if they kind of have She-Hulk kind of bouncing around from relationship to relationship like she does in the books. She doesn't settle down with just one, but she's always kind of got a guy on her arm anyway, right? She's kind of.
Mm.
So I want to see if they do that a little bit. But she likes to, whether it be Wyatt Wingfoot, that would be cool introduction, right? Or who else was she involved with? She
I
had a
don't
little
know.
thing with Hawkeye, I think.
Did she? Mm.
I think I think maybe a little, very little. And Thor, she was involved with Thor in the pages of Avengers.
Oh, okay.
For the momentary time that she was on the screen on the page in Avengers.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, if they
that
bring
even
out Thor, that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I don't know. For me, the shows, it's not a must watch.
No,
You know how like Kenobi was right. We must watch what's going on. We
yeah,
must watch it. This is, yeah, I'll get round to it. Yeah.
yes,
So, and that's kind of how I viewed it. So here's an example. I told you about my wife loving like the Marvel shows and stuff. I watched this morning whilst my wife was sleeping in, having a lie in. She came downstairs halfway through the episode, and she did not kick off that I'd watched it without her.
Mm.
ah, okay,
That says something. Because
yeah.
normally my wife would be like, "What are you?" She go all shulky. "Rrr, what are you watching this for? Rrr." Take the
I'll,
remote
I'll
off me and everything.
I'll give you another anecdote. So my wife, who hates fantasy stuff, right? She's okay with the superhero stuff. She's, she's like she likes the Marvel stuff and everything, but she hates fantasy stuff. By fantasy stuff, I'm talking about like Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So I was watching Game of Thrones, I think maybe like Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and then she goes, "Well, when's episode two coming out?" I was like, I'm probably later on this week. The next day she goes, "Oh, it's not on." I was like, "Oh, I don't know when it's coming on." So she's very excited about the House of Dragons joint. Right,
Uh,
Uh,
watching it. The She-Hulk. She has not asked me about She-Hulk since we watched it.
hmm.
She doesn't care. Our son came home from school yesterday and asked us, "Hey, are we going to watch She-Hulk?" And she goes, eh. It just
Gotcha.
when it comes to, and actually we also had, I want to give a shout out to Mama Comics, who was on Drunken Chat with us last week or a couple weeks ago, and we asked her about it, and it is not hitting for her demographically, right?
Hmm.
Because even though we absolutely must uprise, positive female role models and everything, this is not hitting the marks for her, or
Mm.
for that certain demographic of women that they think they're targeting right now. So
I
they
think
might
that's
need to revamp it.
I think that's a really good point to make, Lucas, because you've got to look that the people who are in charge of She-Hulk are still the same people who were in charge of all the other Avengers stuff and all that. And you think to yourself, well, fair enough. You might have your finger on the pulse when it comes to, like Captain America doing Captain America things and Iron Man being Iron Man. But sometimes you need to go a little bit further afield to get your target audience. You can't just and this is the knock about all these derived characters that the
Yeah.
professor was saying a while ago. You can't just have a male character and then knock up a female version of that and vice versa and expect people to go, "Oh, I feel empowered now that you've managed to copy a male character and just put the word she in front of it." There's got to be some substance to what. And I think for She-Hulk, that substance came when John Byrne took over the book.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback on you on that, Johnny, because if the first episode of the She-Hulk, I know we're supposed to build up this character so that we care about her, but they built her up at the expense of Banner's Hulk
Mm,
because they made him look like a bumbling idiot, like
mm,
with the the rock throwing and the bar being destroyed and everything. They just kind of made him look dumb, not like not dumb, but maybe like out of touch, right?
Yeah.
Like because with her saying it's different. Like I deal with my rage all the time because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I get the whole female empowerment thing, and I know that this is directly aimed at the same fans that watched Ms. Marvel last month, right? So we want them to watch, we want them to care about the character, but I think that we need to make me care about the character, but don't sacrifice Bruce Banner's Hulk at the expense of showing me that she's powerful.
That's a great shout.
She's smart, that I can like both of them equally. I actually like She-Hulk more than I like Hulk in the comics, but don't make me hate, not really hate Bruce Banner, but just kind of think he's more of a comic relief. Like he was definitely comic relief in episode 2.
Well, I mean, not to sort of like Nick take your point away, because you made an absolute great point. Diversity does not mean lack of equality. You can have equality and diversity at the same time.
Right.
But from the flip side of that, just as an aside, they've made the Hulk the butt of the joke since Ragnarok.
Yes, that is very, very true. Smart, yeah. The smart Hulk hasn't really been great.
No.
If they came out with a Hulk movie tomorrow, I don't know if I'd go see it.
No,
because I would want the Hulk that Hulk smash.
I'd want a Mr. Fix-It Hulk. That's who I'd want.
Or either one, But the smart Hulk right now, with basically it's Mark Ruffalo CGI. And I don't
the
need
best
to
of both
see
worlds and suffers from it.
I don't need to see that though, because the Hulk is a specific character where in fact, I would like to see a point where She-Hulk might go crazy and start smashing stuff, but I don't think that's going to happen in the tone of this show. So we'll see. But I mean, overall, I'm going to continue watching the show.
I think I'm probably going to as well. I would say I'd like to see a Superman 3 type of deal. Do you remember Superman 3 where Superman fights Clark Kent in the scrapyard? I'd like to see Smart Hulk versus Savage Hulk. There you go. Do that, and the winner survives.
I have very dim recollections of Superman 3. Sorry.
That's your homework for the week.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw it once in the theater and then had no desire to see it again. So
fine.
And then I totally checked out on Superman 4. So
me too. I didn't even see that.
Anyway, all right. So we have apparently. I guess we'll leave it to you guys to figure out whether She-Hulk is 6 episodes or 9 episodes, and we'll be talking. Maybe we'll be talking about her a few more times before the middle of fall. Through Halloween, we'll be talking Andor in a couple of weeks too. So, all right. So let's take a break real quick, and we'll come back and we'll talk some actual comics. Let's check this out from Crisis in the Toyverse. This is my favorite ad. That ad makes me want to buy toys again. I don't know.
There's nothing that says you can't. Go ahead and keep buying them, man.
I haven't actually bought an action figure in several years, so there's nowhere to put them.
So
I would like to display them, but I have nowhere to display them. I'd rather display my books.
I see a whole bunch of blank space behind you, brother.
I know those are reserved for books. So, all right. So we're gonna jump into some of our this week's releases. We've been following very closely the Amazing Spider-Man relaunch from Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. So, Johnny, you're the resident Amazing Spider fan. So why don't you take us into the latest issue?
All right, so here we go. This new issue. I absolutely thought this was a lot better than the previous one. The previous one had been a little bit samey in places. As you said, Zeb Wells is the writer, John Romita Jr. is pencils, Scott Hanna is on inks, and Marcio Menez, colorist, and VC's Joe Caramanga is the letterer. So well done. No cover credit for letterers again. It pretty much as we left off, Spidey's flying without grace for all you Toy Story fans. Manages to save himself, no shock. But then he turns to Norman for help, and Norman turns him down, which leads to an interesting debate stroke chase across New York. Finally, Spidey gets resuited and retooled and wins out. Sounds pretty basic story wise, but there are some absolute peaches in here. The fun dialogue's back. You know? How, for example, Toombs is kicking off that Spider-Man told someone that he's a murderer, and Spider-Man is like, "Well, aren't you trying to kill me?
Aren't you currently trying to kill me right now?"
Yeah, which makes it interesting. There's a nice little parallel. Spidey gets thrown into a chimney. He does exactly the same to the Vulture. And then the thing that makes the issue, and this is I think where Wells is absolutely nailing it, is the relationship elements. So Norman has a bit of a heart-to-heart as to why he didn't give Spidey the new suit and the glider. And part of it's because he wants to use it himself, but he knows if he does that, he's on a slippery slope. And I thought that was absolutely well observed, especially when they still tie into the whole, admittedly, pardon my French YouTube, piss poor Sin-Eater storyline that came out not so long ago. But I thought that was an absolute stonking revelation. I thought that was brilliant. A lot better than the last issue because I was beginning to think it's a bit of a one-trick pony with the whole idea of using family against him and stuff. I will say that one of my colleagues in my day job, and I agree with him, Liam, hey Liam, how you doing? Has mentioned that he doesn't like tech Spider-Man. He prefers grounded Spider-Man. And I have to agree with him. So I hope this new tech version doesn't hang around too long because that would be the sort of stuff that would turn me off this book. Spider-Man doesn't need a glider. He doesn't need little spider things that fly in people's faces, you know. Yeah. It's like it's just taking it too far. I'm not a big fan of the Iron Spider, none of that stuff. You know, the MCU version where he's Tony Stark's protege just doesn't do anything for me. Spider-Man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that's how it should be. So, as good as this book has been, the Tombstone story, fantastic. The special issue that came out was absolute pants. Getting our footing again on this one. I'm still kind of, you know, I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't go south. Hope it doesn't go south. It has the risk because there's a second Spider-Man book coming out soon, isn't there, by Dan Slott and Mark Bagley. So hopefully Wells is going to be able to tell his stories without having to kowtow to the mighty Slott down the line.
Yeah, I think there's I guess Spider-Man can be a victim of its own success in other mediums. Sometimes that's what I think is happening here with the costumes and stuff. And I actually just started playing the remastered version of the Spider-Man for the PS5. But I have it on PC, but I never played the game when it came out a few years ago. But
Lucas, have you heard this guy? 4K TV, the PS5. What's he on about?
No, I don't have a PS5. My son has a PS5. I don't have.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, my son. That's even worse, man. I was gonna let you pass on that one. Oh, my son.
I didn't buy it for him. He bought it for himself. I have the game on my computer here, so I play it on my computer. But that game, what like I mean, you collect like 75 different suits or
Mhm.
whatever, and all of them have different abilities, and that's where I kind of think that this kind of comes from a little bit,
Mm.
yeah, I think during Civil War when he had the Iron Spider type suit and all that, that was a novelty that was cool because we had never seen it before, and now it seems like every time there's a new artist on the book, it's like, okay, how many different versions of the spider suit can you draw and come up with that look cool?
Mm.
And at that point, then it becomes a collectible, right? So you put it on the cover, you make it a variant issue, and then now that's a collectible.
I would, on this cover that you've got shown here, I have a question. Why does he need his web line to keep him on the glider? Surely he sticks to it because he's spider powers, right?
Surely, right?
So what's he need the web line for?
Why does he need spider balls? I don't know. I don't know that either.
Um, we'll see how it goes. Uh, please, Zeb Wells, please do not suck at the next few issues. Please get this right. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, I actually liked like when you had mentioned that Norman gave him the technology because he didn't
Mm,
want to use it himself. That's a great excuse for this, right?
mm,
But only if it's for an issue or two.
mm.
We know it's only going to be an issue or two before they
Hope
come up
so.
with the next thing, right? So, yeah, I hope so too. Maybe he
I'm,
uses this technology to beat the Vulture like he did in this issue. But
well, I'm looking forward to the Dark Web event. So
yeah,
I'm quite hopeful for that. So let's see what comes out from that.
well, we're good, and you can't go wrong. Like I think John Romita Jr. fixes a lot of problems. Like just because you could look at the art and just enjoy the art and kind
Mm,
of maybe overlook a little bit of the story if you're not really liking the story, you still love the art. So
yeah, that's a shout. I picked up what did I pick up? I picked up the Dan Slott issues of Amazing Spider-Man in like a graphic in a trade, and it's the one where Eddie Brock's got the anti
yeah,
venom. Is
yeah,
that right? Yeah.
yeah,
And that story makes no sense whatsoever. They've got the coffee house and whatnot, and the charity siphoning power.
yeah.
I was like, "What's going? What?" And I'm like reading this. I'm thinking, "Whoa!" And I got to the end. I was like, "Well, at least the art was decent."
Yeah, I
And
was gonna
that's
say, but the
exact.
art's good.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Look,
kind of where that is.
Lucas, what did you think of Amazing Spider-Man #8?
Here are the storylines that I've been reading about for Spider-Man within the last 2 years that they have not readdressed. The Morlans, which are the vampires that kill all the spiders. They brought that up and then they never finished the storyline. The tablet of life and death that the Kingpin went all over the place to freaking kill a whole bunch of people, and then Spidey came across it, but he didn't do anything with it. The MJ split, right? She's off with some other guy right now with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Black Cat, he and Black Cat apparently are hooking up again. Okay.
Yay.
Aunt May has cancer. People forget about that, right? She's supposed to be getting treatment. Haven't heard much more about that.
I even forgot about that.
Yeah. There are the point is that there are several storylines that they bring up and then they just drop all of a sudden that are
Well,
way better than this schlup that they keep wanting us to pay $5, $6, $7 for. Um, and now this isn't even Spider-Man. This is Hobgoblin. This is Amalgam Comics.
it's
oh no.
it's Hob Spider Goblin Man.
Yeah. You know, if you yeah, if look, if I would have been fine with this, but hey, let's do something crazy and no, they're slapping the Amazing Spider-Man and not even usually you know how they usually put like a little crazy spectacular or something or hey unlimited or something like let you know
Yeah.
that's not the actual. No, they just said hey, this is the Amazing Spider-Man book number 8, and this it even has a legacy number
Mm-hmm.
under it. That's what's driving me nuts right now. And like you pointed out about the cover about hey if it's one of these hoverboards, why does he need this thing to freaking drive it? Did the Hobgoblin? I don't remember if the Hobgoblin needed anything to help him drive it. Why does he need these balls that freaking spin around, right? Um, and then my daddy always used to tell me, you are if you want to see what type of man you are or what type of man guy. Just look at the person's friends, right, and who that person talks to on the daily. And right now in this book, he's talking to Norman Osborn, who's a mentally bad guy, right? And then you got him just talking to Toombs,
Mm.
right? So basically, through all this, the only people he's really hanging around with on a daily basis is just bad guys. He has more of a conversation with all of these bad guys than the people that he actually loves.
He even takes a job from Norman at the end of this issue, right?
Yes, yes, he does.
Yeah, maybe, and you know what? Maybe that's a kind of a plot line, right? So maybe that's something that we see later on down the road, where, um, Norman. No, I mean, we all know eventually Norman will return to form, right? So,
Hope so.
but right
I don't
now,
know. Actually, I don't hope so. That's a bit of a misnomer for me. I would actually like to see some elements of change for sure. I think
They
there is
tried
just
that. What about the Red Goblin or the Goblin Queen?
well,
Forgot about those.
yeah,
no,
They just dropped them.
well, so they should. But derivative characters don't work. Let's have original characters. If you're going to do that, the problem with the original characters is that they take a while to get going, and that's the thing. People forget that you can't drop a bad guy like Kindred, for example. Kindred had like way too much ass kicking ability for a guy that has just basically rocked up straight away. When you
mm,
talk about the original Spider-Man storylines from Dick Cullen Lee, the Enforcers, for example, they were built upon over issues. The original Hobgoblin story that was done over issues to build the character up, not just boom, there he goes. Um,
mhm.
I the reason why I said I hope Norman doesn't turn bad again is that the whole Norman has amnesia, then he doesn't, then he does, then he doesn't. You got to remember, I'm a product of where I am. So in the UK, we don't get when I was a kid, we didn't get Spider-Man issues in the
Right,
correct order. So you pick up a Spider-Man issue, and it's like, oh, Norman's the Green Goblin. Then you pick up another one a couple of months later, and oh, he's forgotten. And then you pick up another one, oh, he's the Green Goblin again. You'd be
yeah,
like, what the hell's going on? You know? So it's like, let's just keep it on the down low. I think if he's going to be, I would like to see him, if anything, I would like to see Norman be, and I'm sorry to bring this up, like the Penguin in the DC comics. A few years ago, he's like a legitimate businessman, but with shady stuff going on down on the side business. That's
yeah.
how I'd like to see Norman. This on the surface humanitarian. But on the downside, he's absolutely sneaky as anything.
So kind of
That's
like
what
the
I.
Kingpin.
Yeah, but with more business power, not just crime. And you know, I'd like to see Spider Man or Peter Parker. It's like spider sense go off just like very intermittently because because
Right.
because because Norman would be like good on the surface but dodgy on the below it, so it wouldn't necessarily set his spider sense off every time. You know,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I would
well,
like to say.
I
But
mean, good shot. I mean, Johnny, what you say actually makes sense from a writing standpoint, but that the billionaires, corporate power people at Disney are not going to let that storyline go
yeah,
through. Right?
too close to home.
Yeah, they're not going to let it because remember back in the day when the villains that Superman used to fight, or excuse me, yeah, Superman
Mhm.
and Spider-Man used to fight were just regular old bad guys robbing banks.
Yep.
Mm,
Well, robbing banks really isn't a thing anymore. Right now,
mm.
now it's. I mean, we barely have people stealing cars. We got still, but no, nobody's going to want to freaking buy a comic about, you know, Peter Parker freaking stopping Julio from freaking jacking tires off of a freaking car. No, they feel that they need to go bigger
Well, that's something
right
that should
now.
happen
Mm.
on page one, and then the rest of the book.
Right? Yeah, it used to be a formula, right? Page
Mhm.
1 through 4, page 1 through 2 used to be the bad guy freaking robbing the bank. Page then pages 3 through 8 or 9, without the ads, of course,
Mhm.
used to be Spider-Man jumping in and freaking stopping the bad guy. Then then 12 through 15 used to be Parker getting in trouble because he was late for something he was supposed to be doing while he was, stopping the bad guy, right? And then the rest of the pages would be the new bad guy that's going to show up in the next issue. Boom, that was it. We're not getting that
Not,
formula anymore.
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, pretty formulaic. But so all right, so Amazing Spider-Man, the jury's still out, huh? So we're getting some great artwork, some pretty good writing. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We're just kind of crossing our fingers that it doesn't crap the bed, right? All right.
Bring back Deborah Whitman. Okay, sorry.
Who?
Strange. That's what I think about this book.
That's very good. All right, so let's jump into Fantastic Four, Legacy number 691. That means we're about 9 months away from the Legacy issue 700, right? Which is surprising because you'd think, like with Spider-Man hitting 900, right, that the Fantastic Four should actually be the flagship book of the Marvel Universe.
No,
Spider-Man, but it stopped doing that a long time ago.
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, Fantastic Four was on hiatus for ages. Two,
Yes.
Spider-Man had that by twice a month.
Yeah, well,
for ages.
they combine. Some we were getting sometimes 3 a month, right? Because they had combined all the Spider books into one during Brand New Day, so we were getting 3 issues, almost weekly issues, right? Sometimes. So, but anyway, Fantastic Four, Dan Slott's final issue. Dan Slott writing. The artist is Cafu. God bless you. Color artist is Jesus Albertov. Letterer is VC's Joe Caramagna. And as always, if you don't like it, blame Martin Biro, Annalise Bisa, and Tom Brevoort, because it's their fault. Anyway,
well, I know to blame now. Then good show.
So this is the final Dan Slott issue, like I've said before, and this issue really is what it comes down to, all about family. It wraps up all of Dan Slott's plot lines rather nicely in a little bow, maybe a little too convenient, I think. But this issue very, very much focuses on a new member of the family, Joanna Jeffers, who Reed Richards finds out, who have found out a few months ago, that he had a stepsister, or a half sister. And so he goes and introduces himself to her and takes her on a spin around the universe. And she's with them while they tie up all their family stuff. The reason I really kind of liked this issue quite a bit is they really kind of touched on all the family ties and all the I guess the Fantastic Four world building that Dan Slott's done over the past few years, where we get an extended visit with Ben and Alicia's with the kids, and then with Franklin and Valeria, and then they head off into Spire, where they wrap up the Johnny Storm, who's been stuck on Flame On mode for the last year, where they fix him pretty much, but they also fix Sky, who was his soulmate, and Johnny Storm gives her up to marry her love on Spire. So we kind of wrap up that storyline pretty good. And that storyline's been going on for a couple of years, to be honest with you. But what was good about this is the relationship between Reed and Joanna, and their, I guess, lack of relationship with Nathaniel Richards, their father, who he never actually made an appearance in Dan Slott's run, but he's kind of been in the background a little bit, where Reed actually takes Joanna to Elsewhere and introduces her to their other half siblings, Huntara and the War Marshal, where you realize that Nathaniel Richards has been sprinkling his seed throughout the multiverse. So who knows how many siblings they actually have, which I actually thought was kind of an interesting little plot device, which we'll see if that ever gets returned to. The one good thing about this, like, I love this issue where Reed is kind of does this, like, pours his heart out and says, the universe has just expanded by a factor of 10 or whatever from the Reckoning War, and now they have all new places to explore, as if you needed all new places to explore in a vast universe, right? But now they have new concepts and new things, and I love this family shot with them all in the spacesuits and all sitting on top of the spaceship, and Reed is like, Joanna, will you come with us? Will you join part of our family and explore the universe with us? And she's like, no. I love that moment. But then they get sucked into the microverse, where they have an off-panel battle pretty much with Psycho Man. And when Joanna wakes up, Reed's under the influence of the Psycho Man's machine, and is going through the whole hate thing, and that's where Joanna and Reed kind of have a heart to heart and come to the agreement that they really do kind of like each other. And surprise return of the Molecule Man, which I guess was pretty cool, I guess, to the demand of no one. But even though the Molecule Man was kind of a cool character. But then the book ends with Reed and Joanna on the boat researching the migratory patterns of plankton, which apparently were a big thing because of the moon being destroyed in Reckoning War and reappeared. So I liked that it was kind of like a grounded reason that she was doing things. Like you would think that if the moon was destroyed here, we would probably just be studying what happened to the water, right? And the life in the ocean. So I actually thought this was a good wrap up to the story. I loved Dan Slott's run. I think Dan Slott returned the book to where it should be. As like the heart of the book was the family relationships between everybody. And hey, the big thing Dan Slott did was expand that family, almost double. And I like that. I always thought Fantastic Four should be kind of like a soap opera with all the family relationships. And it had been, that was whole, like, Lee and Kirby's whole time was them not getting along, etc. I liked it. Dan Slott's writing, I thought, suited the book. I'm sorry to see him go. Glad to see him back on Spider-Man, honestly. But yeah, I thought these last 46 issues was a really strong run for him. What did you guys think? Johnny?
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to absolutely rain on your parade because I thought this was contrived from the get-go. I get writers come and go, and I get that artists come and go and everything. It's part of the business. But do not wrap up every single solitary storyline in one issue. Really? Have you heard of this thing called Pearson, maybe? The last issue, Johnny Storm was all angry. I'm going to leave, everybody. That's it. You all suck. I'm gone. See you later. Adios. Boo. This time around, he's like, oh, you found me. Mustn't have gone very far. And he gets cured. Not cured as in, oh, it's a painstaking process. God knows what's going to happen. Like that. Like that. Absolutely ridiculous. And then Fairy gives up his love. Fine, he has to do that because it's another storyline that he needs to get tying off. And then they ignore the longest storyline that's been running through the Fantastic Four from issue 1 onwards. That's issue 1, volume 1 onwards. Is restoring Ben Grimm. They just ignore it.
They didn't ignore it.
No,
they addressed it. He said he didn't want to change.
Which is absolute bollocks. Because then if he didn't want to change, what was that 2-issue run where he's only Ben Grimm for 24 hours? And he gets knocked. He couldn't be with Alicia on the wedding day because of it. Because something bad happened. Someone invaded the planet.
Right,
or whatnot. It's
right,
like
the Hulk freaky came in.
Yeah. So don't tell me it's not important, because obviously it is. Because otherwise, why do we have 2 issues about it?
They have yet.
For me,
yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
you're going to have that character whose driving force has been from the get-go to lose the orange bricks. they're to be given the orange bricks and given the opportunity, and he says no. And I get the kid saying, "Oh, because you're a hero, you're all this and all that." The bricks don't make him a hero. Ben's a hero regardless.
Mm.
So to me, it just screams absolute stupidity. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could have done it and it could only work for so long. If you know, there's ways out of it story wise. You could have turned around and said, "Yeah, he's cured," and then 6 issues down the line, oh my god, he transforms into a monster again, brings up all those angst again. Why is Johnny not transformed back into Flame on Johnny? Because Ben's been living with his mutation for longer. Johnny's has been quite short in the relative space of time, so it was easier to regress him back to normal than it is to regress Ben Grimm back. So don't tell me there's not story ways around it, because there is. I've just given you it, Dan Slott. Thank you very much. But episode issues like this, I would have been happy with the end being last book. To be fair, the end of the Reckoning War. We've got some plot lines dangling, so the next writer coming in can just start and work and do their own magic with that universe. As it is, clean slate issues do nothing for me at all.
All right.
It makes the rest of the run a bit of a lame duck, to be fair, because you think if everything's going to go back the way it was, what was the point of reading the last 40 odd issues?
I'm going to return to that in a second, but I want to get Lucas's thoughts.
Hmm.
Lucas, what did you think?
Is it time for
The
the 2 minute
biggest thing
warning
that I
yet?
took away from this, yeah, the biggest thing that I take away from this is, have we forgotten the fact that Ben and Alicia haven't consummated their marriage yet? They have yet to
Uh,
blink.
is that even possible?
It would be if it wasn't made of orange brick.
Yeah,
Uh,
because there's the one day after they got married, that he changes back into like human. The Hulk came in and freaking messed that all up and broke his arm somehow. Right, so that's the thing that freaking messes me up. And then it's like, okay, you got this whole thing where you can turn everybody, back to where they were, and back to the original form or whatever. Okay, give me something that can fix me, turn me around for like 24 hours or like an hour, doc. Come on, something so I can take my wife to the movies for a quick second. Like a little dip in, a little dip out. If we can get it. No, I know freaking the thing has got a whole bunch of love juice built up over the years, man, from that stuff, man. Like, look, freaking look, this gave me something, doc. But in the meantime, freaking look, this. I think what makes this not work is the fact that the type of art that Jack Kirby used to bring to the table is sorely missing, right? So remember how when Jack Kirby used to draw universes and everything, it was like these
oh,
bright,
yeah.
colorful, detailed. But when we went to the subatomic world, we just got these freaking round things and sticks and
Molecules.
but those aren't molecules. This is 2022. We know that molecules don't look like that anymore. We know that the bonds in between them don't look like that anymore. The writers and the artists should have did some research and help people out. Like, hey, this is what stuff really looks like at the subatomic world, right? Bring us up, bring everybody into. Look, there's a whole bunch of 50 and 60-year-old people that don't know that. Hey, we know what gluons are now. We know what muons. Hey, here this is a hadron particle. This is an H particle, right? There's Z particles, right? And I know that this needs to be done. You know why? Because I just saw the homework that my 8-year-old brought home, and it is fully understandable that the people that are teaching your kids don't know what they're talking about. All right. Um, at the very least, they don't even know how. Look, they don't even know how seesaw works, which is crazy to me, right? Look, even if you didn't want to go that far and like bring the Marvel universe into like real life, right? You have your own um particle thing. It's called the Kirby particle. You remember that thing that they
Hmm.
just invented 2 years ago? Show us how Kirby particle works and the subatomic world thing works. Do something like that. The other thing that was interesting about this was, I think you brought this up, was the relationship between, Richards and and his half sister, what was her name, Joanna, right? And it was kind of interesting because there was a lot of projection in between the two. Like, hey, I hate my dad, so I hate you too. Oh yeah, well, my dad was never there, and I hated him for that, so I hate you too, right? And there was a lot of projection. I mean, they kind of worked it out for a day, and it's you should be able to work this up, but let's see how it works out over months and years. Let's not just like, okay, we worked it out for a day, and then guess what, we're never going to see her again, right? Because that's what real family relationships is like. Hey, you know how to make me pissed off, and I know how to make you pissed off, but guess what, we're still under the same roof, and we're just still freaking, looking at each other's ugly mug every single freaking day, man. That's what really would be interesting to me. And then, look, I think that's it, man. I think that's it from my thoughts, man. Other than the fact that they built that big thing to cure everybody, and then they get cured quicker than it takes the freaking COVID vaccine to freaking or the freaking thing to do it. I thought that was kind of weird, but all right.
So I'm going to return to what Johnny was saying earlier about the stories being wrapped up in a nice little bow at the end. I think that's a good thing. The reason I say that, like, first of all, we never really get those happy endings, pretty much, which this issue was kind of like and everyone lived happily ever after. But Dan Slott knows, and we've talked about this in our on our podcast many times about how the creators come and go and they leave. We just talked about it too. And the new creative team comes on and totally ignore everything that happened before. What Dan Slott was attempting to do here is wrap everything up in a nice little bow, so the next creative team that comes in here can ignore everything that happened before, and maybe we don't see Joanna Jeffers ever again because of that, right? And who knows? Some of these characters might be gone in the next story arc, and we don't see them again. But Dan Slott ended his run here. Go ahead, Johnny.
I get what you're saying. I absolutely totally get what you're saying. But for me, I think I would rather have the trials and tribulations that the characters go through on a book mean something. All right.
I absolutely would as well.
It's not up to Dan Slott or whomever is the leaving writer. It is not up to him to decide how the next writer wants to proceed. So by clearing the decks, you're effectively saying, don't use my stuff, man. See you later. My toys are back in my crib. Don't touch them and whatnot. And you can go and do your thing.
Would you rather have that? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have Lucas with the laundry list of stuff from the last Amazing Spider-Man run that hasn't been touched on in ages, with Aunt May's cancer, etc.? I would rather have something wrapped up where maybe we find out Aunt May's in remission instead of maybe finding out, all that stuff. I would rather have stuff wrapped up for me. And
I would like to think that a writer coming onto a book has A, their own agenda, their own story they want to tell, and B, the skills to use what has gone before. They should not need the previous writer to sort of take away the tableware. The new writer should be able to deal with it.
Does that happen anymore, though?
Well, I'm not saying it does, but I just think issues like this, where it just is everything's reset, the reset button issue, just absolutely, for me, it feels like I've wasted my time reading the book. It feels like nothing's ever real, and I feel a little bit insulted that the writers who do this feel the need to do that. I feel like, so you insult my intelligence by putting everything back the way it was. I was looking forward to Johnny Storm being the hothead and being angry at the Fantastic Four. I was looking forward. I was thinking, he's going to be so annoyed. He's going to be the bad guy. It's going to be the love between him and Sue that brings him out of it. I'm thinking down the line. I'm thinking story-wise. And I'm thinking, why can't we have that? Oh, we can't now because you've changed all the parameters again. So the next writer can't use that because the next writer is certainly not going to make Johnny Storm powerful again like he was, because that's already been done. So I think you've by clearing house, you're taking away additional avenues that that Slott has created. He's created these avenues that new writers could have gone down, done something completely different. But
So
instead, all he's done is said, right, I've done my bit. There you go. They're back in the original form. You have to start over from scratch.
I mean
I don't have the patience or the wherewithal to do that.
I think that's fair. What if the only thing? What if this book read the entire way that it did, but Ben took the fix and became Ben Grimm, and then that was how it ended. Was instead of him being the thing, he was Ben Grimm, but everything else happened that way. Would that have satisfied you?
I think if you're going to go down the route that it's a wrap-up issue, then the Ben Grimm issue should have been resolved as well. Leaving it as it is does not do the character, Ben Grimm character, any justice whatsoever. But next time he kicks off about being a monster, all I'm going to think is, well, you had your chance, you dopey idiot. You didn't take it.
I agree with you there. I do agree with you.
So, I mean, this is what makes comics fun, is the fact that we can have these debates. But
no problem. Hey,
it's a 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning.
Hey!
Let's do that.
First and 10, the ball's on the 20. 2-minute warning. No timeouts.
All right, so coming into this week, here's what y'all need to know right up front. Amazing Fantasy number 1000, the 1 to 200 apparently has some type of allocation going on, so there's not going to be enough to go around for everybody. And I'm talking about the J. Scott Campbell retro variant.
That is an awful cover.
It is. Also the Gambit number 2, the Daughterman Hellfire Gala. Sorry, everybody, there's not going to be enough freaking Gambit nipple covers to go around. Sorry.
What the heck is he wearing?
That's what everybody wears to the gala, didn't you know? Yeah.
I got my suit pressed last week, yeah.
The other big news is WandaVision director Matt Shakman is in talk to him's Marvel Fantastic Four movie. So this is a perfect, segue to what we were just talking about. How would you like a Fantastic Four movie in the same style as the WandaVision? Man, you guys got caught.
Yeah.
Now you guys are like, I don't know.
I liked WandaVision. So
I think he'd do the same trick again, though. Surely.
I would like to see a Fantastic Four movie with Shakman on that. We'll see. He did. I think he did a commendable job on WandaVision. I really liked it. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, we'll see what Fantastic Four looks like. As long as it's not an origin story, they can't do the origin story again. It needs to just be like, hey, this is the Fantastic Four. Bang.
Right. All right. Let's get
right into a story.
Amazing Spider-Man Judgment Day is going to be on FOC this week. Also, Gambit number 3. The reason why I brought this one up is because this one is done by Mirka and Dofo, who has a lot of fans. It's kind of a cutesy one.
Was there a big demand for a Gambit book?
No.
Okay.
Nobody asked for this. Especially if it says like Gambit or Rogue, maybe, or something like that, but nah. Captain America, Symbol of Truth.
I think that ship sailed, to be honest. I think the Rogue Gambit thing, I think it was a thing a couple of years ago. I don't think it hasn't been prevalent in the X books for God knows how long. So
the mutants are all free loving now anyway, so whatever.
Defenders
I like
Beyond.
that. I like that.
That's a great cover, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So it basically insinuates that Galactus's mother will take on the Phoenix Force.
She did at the end of the last issue of Defenders Beyond.
Right.
Yeah.
So then Edge of the Spider-Verse number 2. I think this is the second print. Yeah, second print.
I'm not liking that book, by the way.
Janice Vale, Captain Marvel, friend of Comic Crusaders, Maria Wolf, did this cover.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why didn't they ever make Captain Marvel an Avenger? I know he's kind of like an honorary Avenger after death, but with his relationship with Rick Jones, I mean, having Rick Jones be like an official Avenger after being kind of that kind of sidekick for so long, I thought that would have been such a great dynamic. But anyway, I digress.
Because now is the time of woman, hear me roar. That's what it's all about. You got to push. Look, we know what we're really pushing for is A Force, right? We know if you get all this other stuff, we just want an A Force. Let's
I'd
just get
buy
it
it.
done.
I would buy Air Force if it was right. If Kenny Thompson's on it, I would buy
Yeah.
that all day.
Yep.
Marvel Voices Community #1. Um,
So what's community aimed at?
Latin.
Oh, Latino
Hmm.
or Latin X is that what we're calling it? Don't
No,
tell them
you
that.
don't say Latinx
What?
anymore. Don't say
Why?
Latinx because apparently it's a bad word.
Where did that next come from? Is
We
Latino
don't.
the wrong word now anymore? Oh
I
man.
don't know, man. I don't know. Just
Who's that character in the
in the middle.
middle? Is
That is
that
a brand new character that's being added to the Marvel mythos.
so that they haven't decided on a name yet? Is that why we don't know?
Not yet. You're right. So we got to find out when it comes out.
All right.
Miles Morales, Spider Man.
Awful cover.
Is that Marvel Man on the cover? On the
Yes.
bottom left?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Uh,
No comments.
Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Choose Your Destiny for Lord Momin. Some more Han Solo and Chewbacca with the Choose Your Destiny for Mace Windu. Thor Predator variant.
That was a cool cover. Sorry.
And I got 3 that are interesting that are coming out soon, as of this Wednesday.
Oh,
Ooh,
food.
yum. Look forward to that on Wednesday. Yum yum.
those are the chitlins. Just All right. So once again, Amazing Spider-Man #1000. There is a Diamond retailer exclusive coming out. That is a Virgin. I think it was limited to just 500.
So is this
So
Amazing Fantasy 1,000 you're talking about?
is it fantasy or Spider-Man? I forget which one.
Well, it can't
It's
be Spider-Man because
amazing fantasy
you
1000.
just had 900. So here's my question: what's so special about Amazing Fantasy 1,000? Because
Is it?
I don't get it. Because Spider-Man was in what was it 16?
Yeah, and then it got
So
canceled. So this is. I mean, this is. It's a
it's like
made up. It's a made up number. A made up.
I don't get it. It's when Detective Comics was like, oh look at us, we've hit 1,000. 1,000 means nothing. 1027 is the number you're looking for, not 1,000.
Yeah.
Absolutely baffles my brains when they do this. How man? Bean counters. Get your fingers out. Get your
I already talked about game #2.
Wit
What
Woo.
is okay? So now I noticed the open chest here, but now I'm looking at the open. What do they?
The hip.
I don't know what they
The
call, yeah. What do they call
hips.
that? I don't know. That
Porn.
He needed to show off his childbearing hips, I guess. I don't know.
I don't.
It's supposed to be a thing for teenage girls, but for a grown ass man to be doing that, I don't know what the heck, man. I do not know. 2022, everybody. All right.
Yeah.
Ant-Man #2. Once again, there is the new Ant-Man that's out and about. And then lastly, Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood.
I like that cover on the right.
Yes, sir.
We
So,
seem to see a lot of Moon Knight covers, but we never talk about Moon Knight, the comic book. Wonder why that is.
because it's its own abstract thing, and they're all about vampires and the inner workings of Moon Knight. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. If you really think about it, there's a lot of stuff going on in Moon Knight that will never touch the rest of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And when I think about it like that, maybe that is why people don't like the Moon Knight TV series, because there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of cosmic ethereal stuff, but none of that stuff is going to have any resolution on the rest of the MCU ever
I think
until like Midnight Suns comes around.
I think the run a few years ago from Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood was probably the pinnacle for Moon Knight for me as a character, and I think it's been struggling to try to get that level of quality back. So I don't know. The last couple of runs of Moon Knight have been kind of forgettable for me.
Fair enough. Just like that.
All right. So that's going to do it for this episode of No Prize Podcast. Thanks for sticking with us for the extra 10 minutes. And be back next episode. We'll be right into the shank of September. And until then, Stay safe and go Pats.
Go Finns.
All right. We'll see. Where's my outro?
Adios.